Some might feel that this feast sets too high an ideal for families. If the holiest highlights of the virtue of the Holy Family, without also showing that they had to face many issues not unlike those of our own households. Fortunately, the Gospel tells us something quite different about the childhood of Jesus in a down-to-earth way, by many instances. Even though we call them the Holy Family, that does not mean that they never had problems to face, as every family must. But just each follower of Jesus had a cross to carry, so also the Holy Family had to experience the cross in their shared life together. To mention just a few examples, we can imagine how misunderstood both Mary and Joseph must have been about the conception of Jesus before they came to live together. Joseph was planning to divorce Mary privately before being assumed that it was the work of God. 9 months later, the birthplace of Jesus was an animal shelter, since no better lodging could be found. Today's gospel from Matthew shows how the little family had to flee as refugees to Egypt because the child Jesus' life was in danger from King Herod. In much the same way as refugees from war-torn countries have to flee to save their lives. This prompts us to be more aware of and show more empathy towards those refugees in our own day who seek a safer life among us than they had in the countries from which they came. St. Luke has another story to illustrate what trials were faced by Mary and Joseph in trying to understand the development of Jesus as a young person. When he was 12, they were shocked to lose him for 3 days and then to have to find him with unsatisfactory explanation that he had to be about his father's business. Still, he returned with them to Nazareth and was subjected to them and the quiet rhythm of family life in their village. You don't hear of Joseph anymore after that, so we presume that he had died before Jesus began his public ministry. Then too, the public life of Jesus must have taken its toll on Mary. In the temple, when he was an infant, old Simeon had predicted that a sword of sorrow would pierce her soul. How she must have been pained to hear his enemies say that Jesus was a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. And at the end, when Mary watched her son die in public disgrace on the cross. What sustained the family of Nazareth through all of this? What holds families together in times of difficulty is love and trust. Whenever families are happy, where love and respect are highly prized among them, we pray for an outpouring of those qualities in our own families today. A major threat to families' life nowadays is that we don't spend enough time together. We are so busy working, socializing, using electronic gadgets, or watching TV, then we have no time to talk to each other. A barrister, a busy career woman, was living just 10 kilometers from her old widowed father, but months often passed between her visits to him. And when her father texted to ask when she might bring the grandchildren to visit, she detailed lots of reasons that kept her too busy to see him. Court schedules, meetings, new clients, research, and so on. Her father frowned and then asked, "When I die, will you come to my funeral?" The daughter was indignant. "Dad, how can you talk to me like that? Of course I'll be there." He smiled and said, "Oh, then please forget my funeral and come to me now. I need you now more than I will then." Message understood, and his daughter began to visit him regularly after that. I hear so much about families today, and they come and complain about their children that don't visit, don't pay much attention to them at all. There's an old Italian saying that one man can bring up 6 children, but 6 children can't bring up one man. And of course, another reason is that people move out of state. They move long distances away from us. But I'm sure that they could go on journeys, trips. One family this week told me about they went on a river cruise, but they don't get to see their children because the children never come to them. I guess they'd have to find a cruise next to them so that they can visit each other. Love is what binds us together. We pray for our families in our parish here and your families as well, that love might be strong enough to bind us together. Take a bulletin home with you. There are 3 sermons in there, and one of the sermons is from Deacon Frank.